Okay,
Yeah.
this is going to be a prior CSR. And reviewers, we have John Pruitt, Milton Phillips, Herman C. Salvatore, East Monrovia Station, Floral Drive, Sydney Avenue, Luis Perez, Oscars Market, Daniel Baker, Eastern Avenue, and Humphreys. And our attorneys, we have Miss Mason for the plaintiff and Mr. Brunin for defense. I am plaintiff attorney, Miss Mason.
I am the witness.
On the court. And I am Mr. Brunch for the defense. Brennan for the defense. Reading it, yeah, Brennan.
Reading it in 15s. Sometimes these CSRs are marked like 2 and so like it's 15s.
Okay, what year is this from?
1985, November of 85.
That's a good date. That was your, I think it was 87. All right, aging myself. Begins with the court. For the record, case number 25545, People against John Pruitt and Milton Phillips.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The defendants are present.
Yes, Your Honor. Defendants are present.
Each defendant will be shown by the record to be present with counsel. The district attorney is here. Is this the first time up for the hearing so the defendants have been advised?
They have been advised. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pruitt, Mr. Phillips, this is a hearing. This is not a trial. If there is to be a trial, it will be heard later on in the Superior Court, and there you are entitled to a speedy public trial before a jury if you wish. You each have the right to be represented by counsel at all stages of the proceedings, including this one, and to have one appointed for you if you cannot hire an attorney. You have the right to see and hear and have cross-examined by your counsel the witnesses who appear against you. You also have the right to remain silent. That is, you are not required to give testimony now or even in the case. You have the constitutional right to be released on bail or OR status as appropriate until such time as the matter comes up for trial. You further have the subpoena power of this court to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own defense. You may proceed, Ms. Mason.
Call Herman C. Salvatore.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in the case now pending before this tribunal shall be the truth, the entire truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. State your name, please.
Herman C. Salvatore.
Thank you. You may take the witness stand.
Mr. Salvatore, are you a deputy sheriff?
Yes, I am.
Directing your attention to April of 1985, were you assigned to East Monrovia Station?
Yes, I was.
And directing your attention to the date of April 12, 1985 in the early morning hours, were you working and on duty?
Object. That is a leading question.
It may be. I will allow the question. Ms.
Proceed.
Mason. Proceed.
Yes, I was.
John, who was your partner at the time?
John Pruitt,
Would you indicate where he is sitting?
sitting back here with the gray suit and tie.
I have not been formally introduced, but I assume that is Defendant Pruitt.
That is correct, Your Honor, and I would so stipulate.
Did you and your partner go to a location at Floral Drive and Sydney Avenue?
Yes,
Is that in connection with a crime which was occurring?
yes, a burglary in progress.
And did you respond to that location?
Yes,
And did you have occasion after getting at or near the location to chase 2 people?
yes,
And did you happen to chase someone by the name of Luis Perez?
yes,
And during the course of the chase, did you happen to back your sheriff's vehicle into a parked vehicle?
well, yes, I did.
And did you get out of your car?
Yes,
Again, these are leading questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Mason, please do not lead the witness.
Where was that located?
just east of Oscars Market on Floral Drive.
And then did you, with the help of fellow officers, place Mr. Perez into custody?
Yes,
And one of the officers was your partner, right?
yes, ma'am.
And who else?
Deputy Milton Phillips and Deputy Daniel Baker.
And Deputy Phillips is who?
He is sitting at the end there in the black jacket.
Counsel, please indicate for the record.
Pointing to one of my clients for the record, Your Honor.
The Defendant Phillips.
No further questions of this witness.
You may cross, Mr. Brunin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Officer Salvatore, about what time was it that you received the radio call?
I think it was 1:20 in the morning.
And after you got the call, how long did it take you to arrive at the vicinity of Oscar's Market?
Maybe 3 minutes at the most.
When you arrived at the market, did you see someone who matched the description of the suspect leaving the scene?
Yes, I did.
And would you describe what you observed at that point?
As we rounded the corner from northbound Eastern to eastbound Floral, I observed a male Mexican in a white and black Pendleton and black clothes standing in front of the location as if in starting blocks about to run very quickly from the location. And as he began to get full sight of our vehicle, he turned and ran northbound on Sydney Avenue.
After making that observation, what was the next thing that occurred?
At that particular point, I stepped on the gas and we got on the radio and advised we do have suspects running from the location.
Suspects, plural?
Well, suspect at the time, Your Honor.
Did both you and Deputy Pruitt stay in the sheriff's vehicle as you began to chase the man in the Pendleton?
Just until we went around to the rear of the location.
What happened at that time?
The suspect in the dark clothing was starting to run down the alley westbound from Sydney Avenue.
Your Honor, I have a chart that I would like to have marked as Defendant's A.
So marked, counsel.
I have previously shown this to counsel. Now, Deputy, have you seen the chart that is being placed on the board that identified as Defendant's A?
Yes,
Does that chart show the relationships of Oscar's Market, Floral Drive, Sydney Drive, and the alley that is just north of Floral Drive?
correct.
Now, is there a pointer over there?
Yes, there is.
Your Honor, is it permissible if the witness takes the pointer and just from the witness chair illustrates?
Certainly he may step down or do it from where he is sitting.
It is easier for me to step down.
You might utilize the pointer. It is easier for me to see if you are standing away from it.
Will you illustrate the direction that you approached the market? The first, as you approached and saw the person in the black and white Pendleton?
Not illustrated on the map is Eastern Avenue, which runs generally north and south. We were exactly 1 block south. As we approached and hit the corner right at about this location, we caught sight of the suspect standing right on the corner in front of the establishment.
Indicating for the record, Your Honor, he was pointing on the east side of the map off Floral, which would be the left as you look at it, indicating the market, which is clearly marked on the map by Oscar's.
He is pointing to the northwest corner of Sydney Drive and Floral.
When that individual ran from your view, which direction did he run?
Like I said, he was facing basically southbound, looking in our direction. I do not know if he actually heard the engine or what. As we rounded the corner and our vehicle was in full view, he turned around this way and started running down the sidewalk,
Northbound?
northbound on Sydney Drive.
Then where did you drive your vehicle after?
Well, I rounded the corner northbound onto Sydney. As we rounded the corner, we just caught a glimpse of him going into this alley westbound.
As he entered the alley westbound, did you exit your vehicle?
As we pulled to the mouth of the alley, my partner, Deputy Pruitt, exited the vehicle.
Then what happened?
I can only guess that the suspect had a good gain on us already. So I guess he was thinking along the lines of,
I would move to strike. That is speculative.
I will sustain that objection.
What occurred as Mr. Perez approached Deputy Pruitt?
from what I saw, he was running right at him. He had a confrontational look on his face like he was about to jump him or strike him. I do not know which. He just had a peculiar look like he was going to run right over him.
Objection, move to strike as conjecture on the part of the witness.
Overruled, it is descriptive.
What next occurred?
I was pulling up to the curb. As the guy got within, I guess approximately 3 to 5 feet of Deputy Pruitt, almost right on top of him, Deputy Pruitt did what we commonly call the clothesline. Pruitt took his right arm and caught the suspect either in the head or right in here.
Indicating the neck area when he said here.
What happened after you observed Deputy Pruitt strike the suspect?
The force was so intense that the suspect went up in the air like 2 to 3 feet and landed on his back.
What happened as you proceeded to exit your vehicle and began approaching the second suspect, who we will now call Mr. Perez?
I never got completely out of the vehicle. I was just putting it into park. It seemed Mr. Perez was not even down 2 to 3 seconds, and he was back up running northbound on Sydney again.
Did you at any point during this pursuit, up to this point, yell out to Mr. Perez to stop?
Not at this particular point.
Okay.
Excuse me, Your Honor, when he said that, indicating basically between Sydney and Humphreys in the alley, when he said at that point.
Correct.
Thank you.
After you observed Mr. Perez about halfway down the alley, did you see where he next went?
Yes, there's a dirt field here. He continued eastbound and cut right across the corner of this building into the dirt field, cutting across in this fashion.
What occurred as you left your vehicle and approached Mr. Perez?
As I approached him, holding him at gunpoint, I ordered him to turn and face the wall about in this area here. I had ordered him several times because he would not comply initially.
What type of language did you use specifically to order him?
I basically told him, put your damn hand on the wall now. And again, he did not comply. I had to advise him several times.
Did he ever put his hands against the wall?
He never completely complied. I wanted his hands directly above his head on the wall. He would only bring them up about shoulder height.
Why did you want his hands on the wall directly above his head?
Basically because I had what I believed to be a burglar or burglary going on. I do not know if this individual had a gun, a knife, or anything. For my safety, I wanted his hands where I could see them.
Did you consider it suspicious that he refused to place his hands so you could take a position of advantage?
That is irrelevant. I would object.
If he thought it was suspicious, is irrelevant. Sustain.
At any rate, what next occurred as you approached Mr. Perez?
As I approached him, somewhere in the area 5 to 7 feet behind him, I had my eyes on him the whole time. I heard a vehicle pull up behind me in the street. I recognized it without even looking at it from the sounds of the vehicle. I do not know if I heard the radio or what exactly it was. It just sounded like a sheriff's vehicle to me.
Had you earlier put out a call that you were in pursuit of a suspect?
Yes, originally when we first went on Sydney and then in the alley eastbound.
Would normal procedure be to send other units to assist you?
Well, when somebody puts out they have suspects running from a location, yes, people start rolling right away.
So you hear this vehicle, which you, based on the noise you heard, believed was a police car, and you continue to approach the suspect. What happened next?
I heard footsteps from behind. As soon as the footsteps hit the sidewalk, I started approaching the suspect. I kept my eye on him, put my revolver away, and attempted to reach around to secure his left hand with my left hand, and reached for my handcuffs with my right hand.
Objection, narrative.
That objection is overruled.
I grabbed a hold of his wrist and started to attempt to handcuff him, at which point he attempted to shake my hand loose.
Please demonstrate precisely the action he took that you described.
Certainly. He proceeded to shake 2 to 3 times. I secured him like this. As I attempted to grab his wrist, he shoved me away.
May the record reflect in response to the question, the deputy had raised his arm to where the upper arm was in a horizontal position to the floor.
Made a whipping motion from the upper elbow outwards.
That is exactly what he did. Will you describe what occurred thereafter?
Well, I started to stumble slightly off balance. As this is occurring, this is like in a few split seconds. He is starting to shake considerably. I hear the sound of a baton like this coming out of a ring, metal against metal. Because of my experience in the jail and being in quite a few altercations in there, what have you...
I would move to strike his experiences.
It may be stricken.
Did you take some action in response to hearing the sound of a baton being taken from its ring?
Yes, I continued stumbling to the left.
Did you make an effort to get out of the immediate vicinity of the suspect?
Yes, I stumbled toward my vehicle over this way, which is parked right on the corner about here, and I kept my face turned to the left.
Why were you continuing to keep your face turned away from the suspect?
Just judging from the sound of the baton. I figured somebody was going to be swinging a baton real soon, and I did not want it hitting my face.
Based on your training and experience as a deputy, was it your state of mind that given the resistance the suspect was demonstrating at that point, that your fellow deputy would use his baton to attempt to immobilize him?
Correct.
Would you show us, if you can, exactly where was the front of your vehicle, where was the rear of your vehicle, and at what angle?
The front end was almost, if I remember right, touching the sidewalk or just hanging over it. There was probably not even 2 to 3 feet between the driver's quarter panel and the building, the wall of the building.
Nothing further.
As a deputy sheriff, when you are trained to use the baton, you are trained to use it to strike people who are being uncooperative. Is that correct?
People who are resisting arrest.
And do you do that in order to injure that person, to make him stop resisting?
Yes.
Are you trained to hit softly to see if that affects him, then medium to see if that affects him, and then finally a hard one?
They teach anybody that goes through the classes to hit them basically with all they have and stop the fight immediately.
Now, after you heard Deputy Pruitt's voice at the time the baton was being removed from the ring, was there still a period of time When Mr. Perez was struggling against having the cuffs put on him.
That has been asked and answered.
Sustained.
It is foundational.
Before we proceed, we will break.
It's 13 minutes. Okay, this will be 5 minutes of 200 warm-up for our take. We have Mr. Monty for the people and Mr. Cook for defense. I am attorney for the people, Mr. Monty.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am Mr. Cook for the defense.
The 15th.
Okay. Begins with the court. For the record, this is the matter of the people versus Jose Lopez Wheeler. Are you ready for the prosecution?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're ready to proceed, Mr. Cook?
That's right.
Call your first witness.
This is called Charles Farrell Jr.
Step up here, please, and be sworn. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Please take the stand and state your full name and spell your last name to the court, please.
Charles Edward Farrell, Ferrell.
Your Honor, before proceeding at this time, may I ask for a ruling to exclude prospective witnesses?
All right. I'm going to ask that all prospective witnesses step outside until after they have completed their testimony. You have no other witnesses in court?
I have just the two.
Okay, proceed.
Mr. Farrell, where do you live?
At 2815 Gardendale Road.
And how long have you lived there, sir?
About 12 to 13 years.
And directing your attention to August 28th of this year, last summer, do you recall what time you left your home in the afternoon?
It was about 3:30 to 4 o'clock, I think.
And where did you go?
I went to the Eric Kimball Elementary School to play basketball.
Is that in Sacramento County?
Yes, I think so.
And did you notice anyone approach you while you were at the school?
No.
Did anybody ask you to get a child for them?
Yes.
What did the person ask you?
He asked me to ride. I was on my bike over to where the child was playing and bring him over to where he was.
Did you know the name of the child?
Not until.
Just answer the question.
No, I didn't.
All right. And what did you do when he asked you to do this?
I agreed and told him I would, and I went over there.
Did you get the child?
Yes.
And could you describe the child?
About 2-3 feet tall, dark hair.
How old was the child approximately?
Approximately 2.
What did you do with the child when you went over to the child?
I just picked him up and rode over to where he was standing.
Do you see that person in court that you took the child over to?
Yes.
Would you describe what that person is wearing and where he is in the courtroom?
He has on a brown leather jacket and an orange shirt, and he is sitting right there.
May the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
What did the defendant do with the child after you brought the child over to him?
He grabbed the child and ran through the school and jumped over the back fence of the school and got into a brown and white car and drove off.
After the defendant drove off later on that same day, did anyone come over and talk to you about the child being taken?
Yes,
And who was that?
the child's mother and grandmother.
And is that Lolita Wheeler and Elizabeth Owens?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
All right, you may cross-examine.
When you delivered the child to Mr. Wheeler, did he say anything to you?
No.
Okay. And did you observe him walk away?
He walked over about, I would say, 50 feet, and then he started running.
No further questions?
I don't have anything further.
All right, you may be excused. Thank you. You want to call your next witness?
Yes, we call Elizabeth Owens.
Raise your right hand and be sworn, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please take the witness stand and state your full name and spell your last name for the court, please.
Elizabeth L. Owens, Owens.
Mrs. Owens, directing your attention to August 28th of this year, the summer of this year. Where did you live at that time?
7504 29th Street.
Is that in Sacramento?
Yes, sir.
And how many children do you have?
I have 3 children.
Do you have a daughter by the name of Lolita Wheeler?
Yes.
And does she have any children?
Yes.
And how many children does she have?
2 boys.
And is one of the boys named Damon Wheeler?
Yes.
And how old is Damon Wheeler?
He's 3 now, but he was 2 at the time this happened.
Now, on August 28, 2005, did you take care of Damon Wheeler?
Yes.
And where did Lolita Wheeler live at that time?
With me.
And what was the situation?
How come you were taking care of Damon.
She was at work.
Did you babysit while she was at work?
Yes.
Directing your attention to approximately 5 p.m. on the 28th of August, 2005. Were you in fact babysitting Damon at that time?
Yes.
And where were you?
Sitting on my front porch,
And where was Damon?
playing right across at the school.
And what school is that?
Eric Kimball.
And did you see anyone come up to Damon?
Yes.
And who was that person that came up to him?
Chucky.
Was that the individual that was just in the courtroom?
Yes.
What is his name?
The only name I know him by is Chucky. That is what the kids told me.
All right.
And what did you observe Chucky do?
He drove around on a bicycle. Then he picked Damon up and went towards the back of the school. Then I saw Jose's head in the hallway right there between the office and the auditorium.
Okay, this will be 5 minutes at 210 words a minute. We have Mr. Martin for the people and Mr. Benjamin for defense. I am attorney for the people, Mr. Martin.
I am the witness.
I'm the court.
And I'm Mr. Benjamin for defense.
Okay, that begins with Mr. Martin in colloquy for the record. This is the case of Larson. The people are ready, Your Honor.
All right, let's proceed with the matter at hand.
Your Honor, the defense is ready at this time. Also, I would like for the record to be accurate and reflect that this is to be a special appearance for the purposes of the preliminary hearing.
The people at this time would like to call Ms. Betty Morrow. Your Honor, may the investigating officer in this case be permitted to remain in the courtroom during these proceedings?
Yes, he may remain until further notice is given. Is the witness ready? Please step forward and state your name for the record.
Betty Ann Morrow.
Ms. Morrow, now directing your attention to the date of December 2 of last year, did you know a person by the name of Lawrence Speak?
Yes, I did.
At that time, how long had you known Mr. Speak?
About 25 years.
During that 25 years or so, Ms. Morrow, had you been living with Mr. Speak?
Yes, sir. I had lived with him for 11 years.
Were you married to Mr. Speak?
No, sir.
Did you refer to Mr. Speak as your husband?
Yes.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I do.
How many?
Just one from my relationship with Mr. Speak.
What is your child's name?
Kyle Speak.
Is Kyle Speak the son of Mr. Speak, Mr. Lawrence Speak?
Yes, he is.
How old is Kyle, Ms. Morrow?
He is 9 years old. He will be 10 next week.
Now, at this time, I would like to direct your attention to the date of December 2nd. Do you remember picking up your son Kyle from school sometime on that day?
Yes, I do.
Was that before or after 2 p.m. in the afternoon? Do you remember?
It was closer to 3 or thereabouts.
Now, when you went to the school to pick up your son, was your husband, Mr. Speak, with you at that time?
Yes, sir, he was.
After picking up your son, did you proceed to go somewhere rather than home?
Yes, I did.
Was your husband still in your company at this time?
Yes, yes, he was.
Where did the three of you go?
We went over to my friend's house because Kyle wanted to play with her kids.
What is your friend's name?
Renee.
Where does Renee live?
She lives at 1762 Via Lido.
And in what city is this home located?
It's in the city of Newport Beach.
So at that time, did you actually go to this address and drop off your son Kyle?
Yes, I did.
Now, after dropping off your son at Renee's house, what time was that incidentally?
Around 3:30 or maybe closer to 4.
Did you and your husband go somewhere after dropping your son off?
Yes, we did.
Where did you go?
We went to the mall on Harbor. Then we went over to this hawk shop.
Do you mean a pawn shop?
Yes,
Did you purchase anything at this pawn shop?
yes.
What did you purchase there?
2 guns.
Did you have a permit to purchase these weapons?
Yes, we did.
Had you waited the customary 10-day waiting period to purchase these guns?
Yes, we had.
What kind of guns did you purchase? Do you know?
I don't know what one of them was, but the other was a 22.
Do you know the difference between a rifle and a shotgun?
Yes,
Was this other one that you are not sure about, a shotgun or a rifle? Do you know?
I think it was a shotgun
Was the 22 a rifle or a shotgun?
rifle.
Do you know the difference, do you not, between a shotgun and handgun?
Yes,
Now, at the time that you and your husband purchased these 2 guns, the rifle and the shotgun, did your husband have any money in his possession?
yes, he did.
So at the time of this purchase, he did not use a credit card?
No,
Can you please tell me to the best of your knowledge how much money your husband had in his possession at that time?
less than $500.
How much did he have in his possession exactly? Do you remember?
Between $300 and $400.
Was this before or after the purchase of the 2 guns?
After,
Do you remember how much the 2 guns cost?
I don't remember.
Did you save the receipts from this purchase?
Yes, I did.
Do you have them with you in court today?
No, they are at home.
Well, approximately to the best of your knowledge, how much did your husband pay for these 2 guns?
Over $200.
Over $200?
Yes,
Was that the total price of the 2 guns?
yes, it was.
And you did say that your husband paid cash for these two guns, is that correct?
That's correct.
After you purchased those guns, where did you go?
We went back to Renee's house.
Is this where you had previously dropped off Kyle?
Yes,
And what did you and your husband do when you arrived at Renee's house? Do you remember?
yes.
Tell us please what happened.
Well, we went inside the house and we talked to Renee for a while. We had a couple of beers. Then my husband told me to go out to the car and bring in the gun.
Which gun?
22.
Then what happened? Did you go to the car and get the gun?
Yes, I did.
Where was the 22 in the vehicle?
It was in the trunk.
Was the shotgun that you had previously purchased also in the trunk of the vehicle?
Yes, it was.
Did you take the 22 out of the trunk of the vehicle?
Yes,
And where did you take the gun?
into Renee's house.